Hello, hello.
Hello, Tarun joined.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Andrea Caprio here. Welcome to all. I am still waiting for a couple of people to join me, and I will put you, by the way, all on mute because in the beginning I will be doing most of the talking. And then at the end, of course, you can join me for some questions. But before doing that, maybe you see in the bottom there is a chat. So maybe you want just to say hello in the chat and say where you're coming from. And then also during our masterclass, please feel free to send any questions you have in the chat. I will definitely at one stage take the time to go through. Alrighty. And I will, by the way, put you all on mute if I can do that. Yes. Perfect. So I'm just waiting a couple of more minutes to see if anybody is joining us. And yeah, and then we're going to start. I'm really excited. I prepared a nice program for us together today. And by the way, Happy New Year to everybody. How has 2020 started for you? You can also let me know in the chat. Hi, Taron from Chicago. And you're looking for tips for healthy life, don't we all? If we all had the right thing, how to have the healthy life would be great, right? Hello, Sonia from London. Oh, I love London. My daughter is in London and I go there relatively often. So maybe one day we can meet. If you're interested, definitely let me know. You can also let me know that privately. Would be absolutely lovely. Right, good. Now I hope you all have something to write and you can take notes or so. I will share with you a lot. Hello, Joe, as well. And I'm sure there's some other people joining us later. Right, so today the masterclass I put together basically because I'm getting at the beginning of the year, of course, like always it's happening, asked on how to lose weight and how to make it easy. Most people, you know, they are in contact with me, they've tried kind of everything and anything. And so they are really looking for some easy steps. So what I want to share today is the 5 lies and myths of the dieting industry. So I will share really what works, what doesn't work rather, which most people are trying. Simple and really powerful techniques to lose weight while sleeping. It's possible. We can lose weight while sleeping. Isn't that amazing? And I will share with you actually there a sleep, ways to sleep, because it's not always easy to sleep. So I will share all about how to improve your sleep, which is basically the easiest way to lose weight. And I explain you why actually that is so. And then I will give you my secrets of how to get rid of your love handles once and for all. A lot of people have the issue that they are accumulating the fat around their mid section, and that is, by the way, the most dangerous fat, the visceral fat. So that's definitely something I'm telling you, or I'm sharing with you some tips on how to lose that. And then the number one dangerous food that all Americans eat that you need to stop now. Now, I will not go into in any fancy kind of dangerous food like any special seafood or so. It's a food staple that, in my opinion, is the most dangerous for our health issues. So I will share that with you so you can avoid it, and a lot of strategies around on how to avoid it, right? And then I have some surprises at the end as well. So you definitely want to stay with me. And by the way, I know a couple of people will watch the replay. So please do stay until the end. I have two amazing things I want to share with you at the end, so you don't want to lose out. And by the way, it's a lot of value today, so you really want to take something to write, take notes and so on. And keep the questions, please do ask them in the group chat if you have any questions in. And then at the end, I will unmute you, and you are most welcome to ask me as many questions as you want. I'm happy to reply and answer all of them on setting you up for a strategy for this year forward, so you can really be able to get to your weight loss journey in 2020 and beyond. Because in the end, I don't like quick fixes and short-term diets or strategies. I'm really about a holistic approach and a long-term approach as well, because that's, in my opinion, only what counts. Right, so now let's start immediately with the first, the 5 lies and myths of the dieting industry. Now, we come all across all kind of funny things that people put out that say that work and that don't work. And I want to bust a few on those myths, and there are more, of course, of those myths and lies around there. But the first one to start with is all calories are the same. Basically, very often in the dieting industry or the weight loss industry, we hear that it's all about calories. We have to restrict calories. I see all kind of very restrictive diets. I don't know, I've seen the other day, whatever you lose, I think it was 30 pounds in 7 days by eating only 1,200 calories a day or something like that. For me, quite honestly, it's first of all dangerous, and secondly, it's not something that is sustainable, and that exactly leads to this so-called yo-yo dieting, which most of you might have gone through. And if that's you, by the way, please do write in the chat, if you have been yo-yo dieting or so, share that with us. Definitely something where I see it happens all the time, that people try those weight loss calorie restricted diets, and they are usually failing after some time. Of course, some pounds tumble off, but eventually they get on after that, and often far more. Now, why is it that all calories are not the same? First of all, the different foods, they go through different metabolic pathways, and they can have really different effects on your hunger and the hormones that regulate your body weight and your hunger and your satiety. You might have heard of the hunger hormone ghrelin and the satiety hormones leptin, and these are hugely affected by other hormones and by the food we eat, right? Now, if you eat the wrong foods, those might be wrongly affected, and that leads actually to more weight gain. So you might actually eat very little calories, but if it's the wrong calories, the wrong food, it affects negatively certain of your hormones or other parts, biochemical processes in your body, and that is exactly what happens, and why so many people struggle with losing weight, even though they might eat little and they might do exercises. So, for example, a protein calorie is not the same as a fat or carb calorie, so they all are different. By the way, fat, I'm speaking a bit more about it, but fat actually has far more. Fat has 9 grams, and where carb and protein has 4 only. And fat is not necessarily making you heavier or whatever it is. So it's really something, it's more about the quality of the food you eat and the right food for you. Now, I am a huge believer that we are all individuals, bio-individuals. So we all are different, of course, right? We look different, we are different, we have a different health history and so on. So it's really important to take that into consideration with when we eat. So some foods might be good for some people, which are not necessarily good for other people, right? So some people might do very well on a ketogenic diet. Not that I recommend that, by the way. It's not a good long-term strategy. Some people do very well on a paleo diet or on a Mediterranean diet or whatever. We all are different. So that's the same for the calories. That's why it's so important. That's the quality, what type of macronutrients we are actually putting inside ourselves and the quality of it. So replacing carbs and fat with protein, for example, can boost your metabolism really, really well and reduce appetite and cravings, while at the same time optimizing the function of some, as I mentioned, the hormones, the weight regulating hormones, like, for example, leptin, ghrelin, and so on. So sometimes, by just tweaking the composition of your foods, it's really important that then you are actually addressing more your hormones, your metabolic system, and that will help you in the weight loss. So calories are not the same. That was one of the myths that I just busted. All calories are not the same, right? Now, the second one is definitely that you want to, sorry, I'm losing my track here, that supplements can make you help lose weight, right? Now, that's another myth and a lie of the weight loss industry, of the dieting industry. I see it all the time that you have a lot of supplements promising to lose weight, and all kind of false claims actually I see out there. I mean, I always believe in regulations, and it seems they're not always working very well out there. But it is, I am for supplements. I do recommend my clients supplements, but not to lose weight only, right? If you just take supplements and you continue eating crap food, if you continue not exercising, if you are having issues with sleep, or maybe you're stressed, or with hormones, if you're not healing your body really from the bottom up, the root causes and all that, you can take as many supplements as you want. They will probably do a little bit something, but they will not, solve your issues. They will just be like another medication, a band-aid. And that is something I'm really busting that myth. Supplements will not help you lose weight in the long term. They help, however, sometimes. And I tell you why, because they have a placebo effect, right? You've heard, I'm sure, about the placebo, and that is something that can help a little bit, but then in the end, anything can help. So I really believe that is, again, it needs a holistic approach, that you are really looking at the different areas of your life. You look also at your emotional health. You look on what food, what quality of food, the quantity of food, of course, does play a role as well. And then your whole lifestyle, stress management, sleep, exercise, and all these things that play really a huge role as well. And then adding supplements, maybe with helping to regulate your hormones, for example, or maybe helping you to balance a little bit better, adaptogens or so, or if you have any nutrient deficiency or so, then supplements can help. But just taking supplements to lose weight is definitely not the right strategy. Number 3 of the myth I'm busting here is obesity or weight, having too much weight is all about willpower. Now, it's a little bit like I said earlier already. You see, I always find that very sad, actually, and sometimes it makes me, to be honest, really, really angry, because some people say, yeah, but, I hear that my clients tell me, yeah, but you should lose weight, just have more willpower, as if it was so easy. It's not. And I describe it a little bit like we have a bag, a bag of willpower coins. They're little coins of willpower. And we take out one and another one and another one. And by the end of the day, there are no coins anymore remaining. And that's usually when we start binge eating, right? Who has had that? Tell me in the comments here if you had that issue or so. But it's definitely something where we want to take out the willpower of the equation. Willpower is so overrated. Now, what I rather recommend, instead of working on having willpower to lose weight, is to have the right strategies. I mentioned already, one are on the biochemical levels, the hormones, the leptin hormone. So work on improving your hormones. Work on, we speak later, on your sleep. Work on looking into what has been preventing. Often we self-sabotage. We might be procrastinating. What are the reasons why we do that? These are far more important things to work on. And once we know what they are, what are the root causes, then of course we can address them. And then you don't need willpower. The other part of it, instead of using willpowers, is really to use habits. Now, I am a huge fan of habits. And I teach that when working with my clients. I really go into helping my clients to implement simple, easy habits. It's something I'm passionate about because it makes life so much easier. You know, when you plan your day, your week, your life in advance, and you plan within there the habits, and then you just implement them, and they must be simple, of course, nothing too fancy, then you combine habit with habit, you build habit on habit, and eventually by doing that you are getting towards your goals, you're achieving your goals, and you don't need that willpower. Now, a really good trick for that is one thing you might want to take note of is to combine new habits with old habits. I just said that earlier to one of my clients I was coaching earlier, and she was trying to start meditating, and she struggled in doing meditation. So first of all, instead of trying to do an hour of meditation or 20 minutes of meditation, if you've never done meditation before, just aim for 1 minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Make it something super simple. Make it something you can listen to. Do the simplest meditation you can, and then, very important, bind it to another habit. For example, you're brushing your teeth every morning and every evening. At least I hope so. So you can immediately, after you finish brushing your teeth, you can do your meditation, right? Because you will remember that you should be doing that, right? And that is really an easy way for you to add a new habit, right? So it's really something that you could add there into your new life, into your habit building. And when you do that, you don't need willpower. Hello, Rebecca. I see you are there. You can just say hello on the chat, which is down there, and maybe say where you're from. And I've started already, of course, and we are busting the myth about the diet industry. Now, number 4 is, another myth is to eat less and move more. And now, of course, it is definitely that we should eat less and move more. But I just need to mute Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm muting you. Can you do that? It's not working. Sorry, guys. Rebecca, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Because there's a background noise. For some reason, I cannot mute Rebecca.
So I can hear you.
Rebecca, please, can you mute yourself? I hope she hears that. Right, now the next thing is, as I said, eat less, move more. Now, if you only eat less and move more and you're not addressing all the other areas, then you will still not be able to lose weight. And that is really something that I hear over and over, that people are mentioning, you just need to eat less and move more and you will lose weight. Again, it might work for a short term, but it is not a long-term strategy. A better long-term strategy is that you have really a major and sustained change in your perspective and behavior. So you really want to look into changing the perspective, which is your goals, and also the behavior around. So that's far more important. Okay, just hold on 1 second. I really need to mute Rebecca here. I cannot do that. Rebecca, please, can you mute yourself?
Can you hear me? Because I don't think you can hear me. I can't see you either.
Rebecca, please mute yourself. I'm sorry, but otherwise I am not being able to do this. I let you on coming on later. And later we'll have some Q&A. Right,
yeah,
and let me continue there. Then the number 5 is that the number 5 myth is fat makes you fat. And that's one of my favorite ones. It's very often that people think actually that, that you are when you eat fat that you get fatter, and it is not the case. It really is not the case. It is far more important to have the right type of fat, which is the healthy fat that can be very helpful for your hormones and for your metabolic system. So for example, instead of using highly processed fats, trans fats, and so on, it might be a far better strategy there for you to use the healthy fats. And what are healthy fats? Now, healthy fats, for example, are fats like avocado, fats like coconut oil is also one of those fats that are actually quite healthy. It's so saturated because of its medium chain fatty acids. You have, for example, also some other really good fats that are seeds and nuts that are really helpful. And these fats help your hormones. Same thing like I mentioned earlier with the protein. Protein and healthy fats are really, really important for your hormones to make them stable and to work together. So sometimes by eating fats, and of course not eating too much of it either, but by adding some fats to your diet will be helping you in the weight loss. As much as I'm not a fervent of the ketogenic diet, and I do not recommend it for a long-term strategy and only for certain issues where I would recommend it, but ketogenic diet is a very good proof that you can lose some fat or some weight when you're on the ketogenic diet. It is, however, a short-term issue or short-term approach, because otherwise you really are damaging your system. It's a very restrictive diet. I go back to that, if it's too restrictive, it's not.
It's important to be a good sport, win or lose. Got it?
If you have any question, yes, I see. Okay, Rebecca, I really need you. Okay, now I muted Rebecca. Finally, that was possible. Is it better now, the sound? Yeah, okay, good. Sorry for that, guys. I could not unmute her earlier, so now it's done. Okay, so Rebecca, later on, I will be putting you back on for the Q&A, and that is for everybody else as well. I'm sorry for that disruption. So, right, if you have any question about so far the myth and the lies, perhaps there are any myth and lies you have heard and you want some clarification on, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them. I also want just to mention while you do that, when I work with clients, I go into these details, of course, much more in detail. We're really, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very much about a personalized approach. So I'm really finding out what helps you, what helps each client. Again, we are all different. And whereas, some approaches might be helpful for one, others are not. And you have your own health history, your personal history. So I always recommend really looking into that and addressing the root causes, the emotional, the physical, the biochemical root causes, and so on, and really go in there to overcome the issues you have. Just remember that your weight is actually only an outcome, a sign and a symptom. It's a bit like when you get a rash on your skin or, whatever it is, or a cold or so. These are all signs and symptoms of a deeper lying imbalance or a deeper lying issue you're having, a root cause, a system disturbance, or so. It might be inflammation, it might be immune, or whatever it is. So it's always that you remember you need, first of all, to address, and that can be emotional, that can be spiritual, that can be psychological, that could be biochemical, physical, could be inside in your body, could come from outside, toxins, environmental, and so on and so on. So you always need to remember that in the end, it's really a total approach, a holistic approach. Right, Taron, Sonia, you're asking the fifth myth. Okay, let me just repeat that quickly. I'm sorry for that you didn't hear it. So the fifth was fat makes you fat, okay, which is a myth. Fat, it depends on the quality of the fat you're eating or drinking, depending, and good fat is actually needed for your body to really balance, help you with the biochemical processes. It's very important for the neurotransmitters, for your hormones. I mentioned earlier the different hormones, how they play together. So fat is actually needed, and it's more about the quality of the fat. So I always say it's better to have high quality. For example, I only use extra virgin olive oil, which for me is one of the best fats. Avocado, really, really great fat. I love seeds and nuts. These are all good fats. And whereas you should not eat, tons of it, of course, but a little bit of fat is definitely something that is helpful in your weight loss strategy. But it's all on the combination. So, and I'm going to go into it a little bit more, but you need the fiber, you need protein, healthy fat, and complex carbohydrates in the right relation to each other. Right, Sonia, okay, you asked us that. Okay, now Taron, sugar sweets, yes, of course, sugar and sweets. Taron, I will get on to that a little bit later, so I will answer that. I've prepared it a little bit, so I will answer on that, so hold on. I will speak a lot about sugar and sweets later on, okay? So I will share that with you, but I definitely do not recommend it on your weight loss journey or ever, by the way. And I will get into that why, but definitely something that will hinder it, like anything that is processed and damaging food, right? Good. Maybe I didn't actually present myself when I was starting, so just a very quick introduction. I'm Andrea Caprio, well, that you figured out by now. I'm a Master Certified Transformational Nutrition Coach, sounds really fancy, but I specialized in weight loss and emotional eating as well. So I work really with clients in holistically overcoming their weight issues. Often they have emotional eating issues or cravings or so, but also I help them with often other symptoms or illnesses they might have, or diseases they have. Like I have a lot of clients, they have hormonal issues, they have thyroid issues, they have diabetes, so all kind of chronic diseases as well. I have specializations in digestive health and hormonal health and autoimmune disease and diabetes and cancer actually as well. So I specialized, part of my master program, I specialized in all these because I've been seeing that a lot of my clients have those issues and they need more help at a deeper level. So I really combine all this together, and I love working with busy people in general because I am busy. Stress is my thing. So, coming to what I do now as a nutrition coach, I did through my own journey. I was, always super stressed, and I thought I was eating relatively healthy until I realized I was eating too much sugar. You see, Taron, you mentioned I ate so much sugar. I never realized, actually, I thought always I was eating healthy, and I realized then, how much sugar I added up. I had migraine headaches. I had fibroids. I was always tired. I had too much weight. I had digestive issues, and a lot of other things as well were going on. And when I started eating healthy, I suddenly realized, all improved. Suddenly I had no migraines. To give you an idea, I had weekly migraines. Every week I had migraines for a couple of days. Nowadays, I have only migraine 2-3 times a year, more or less. So you see, I had fibroid issues. I don't have that anymore. I have energy. You cannot imagine my energy. I mean, I really work a lot. I never had that energy and so on. And that's really when I realized how that food improved my own life and my health. I wanted to help other people with that and teach them that. And that's how I got into what I'm doing now. I was in a completely different field before. So I'm really passionate about that. And that's why I'm here today. Right, now let's jump on to our next point. But I just invite you to drink some water because I need to drink some water. And I also need a breather. I think I've been talking too much. I hope this is interesting. Let me know what so far was the most interesting for you. Let me know in the comments. I would love to know. so I can find out what you like and what was the most helpful for you so far. Well done, Sonia. I see you. I don't see the others, Joe and Tarun. I don't know if you want to put on your video, but I see Sonia. Right, the next point was I want to share with you some really powerful techniques to lose weight while sleeping. Now, I'm sure I have your attention here, because don't we all want to lie down and sleep and lose magically weight? And it is possible, because, and let me just give you a little bit the idea around, but you have, there have been several studies where they had groups of people, they put on a weight loss diet, and they all ate exactly the same things. Doesn't matter which diet, but you know, they put them all on a weight loss diet, and they had half of the group which they sleep deprived, so those people were sleeping 5 to 6 hours, and the other part were sleeping 7 to 8 hours. Okay, so these two groups, the difference in weight loss and fat loss, there's slight differences, but let's not go too much into details, is in one study 55%. Right, huge, huh? I have another study, there were 37%, so let's give it a few back and forth and so on, but it is definitely huge. There are several studies done around that, okay, and they looked at different approaches and so on, but it's really huge. So as I say, you can lose weight while sleeping. Now, if you are one of these people who says and who prides himself or herself saying, oh, you know, I don't need sleep and I can function with 5 hours only or so on, then I say, I'm sorry, that's old school. It's not happening. It's not in anymore. It's really, sleep is the new black, or whatever you want to say. So I highly, highly recommend you to sleep. Now, how much are you sleeping? Can you honestly say in the chat how many hours on average you're sleeping? I would love to know. And I will share, of course, after with you some strategies. Now, don't be shy. You know, we are not perfect. I'm not judging you. I'm working with people. You know, I have clients. I have one of my clients. She was sleeping only 5.5 hours. Now, we were working with her, of course, on improving that, because I can tell her, but you need to sleep longer, you know, but it's not that easy, right? When we sleep only very little, then we usually want to sleep longer, but we struggle because maybe our minds are too busy, maybe, you know, we cannot sleep longer, or so on. So I will share with you some strategies right now in how to improve your sleep. And I will also share after that, when I'm at the end, so you don't open it while I'm talking, is my sleep lullabies, tips for healthy sleeps. Okay, for healthy sleep, sorry. And there are all the sleep strategies in a document, in a PDF, which is really nicely done for you, and you can keep that for you after. Now, the issue with the sleep is when, and it goes back to the hormones. You see how important hormones are. You will just understand. I already went into that with the leptin and the ghrelin earlier, but also we have a sleep hormone. Do you know what is that called? I would like to know if anybody knows what is the sleep hormone called. You can type it in the chat if you want. Now, that sleep hormone is super important to have that working correctly, and that sleep hormone increases normally in the evening and allows us to sleep. Right, Sonia, melatonin, absolutely, well done. So melatonin increases in the evening, or is supposed to increase in the evening, usually around 8, 9, 10, and ideally we should go at 10 o'clock to bed, because that's the peak time of your melatonin. Melatonin, of course, is in conjunction with outside, the light outside, right? It will obviously increase as the light goes down, and it will go through the night and eventually fall down in the morning, okay? And then, by the way, the other way, in the morning we have cortisol, which is another hormone that increases in the morning and that keeps us awake, right? Very much in correlation with our blood sugar. Now, if all this is not working, and for example, our blood sugar, our cortisol is not regulated, our melatonin cannot increase in the evening, right? And all this, if that is not working, it affects our leptin and ghrelin and other hormones that play a role with satiety, hunger, and weight loss. So if we are not sleeping correctly, then of course all the other hormones are badly affected, and you can do whatever you want, you're not going to lose weight, or not as much, or you will not keep it down. Right. Okay, so that was a huge piece. I hope you got that, because it's super important to understand. And I think when you get that, and of course today I'm sharing only some parts. You know, we are on a masterclass. I'm not be able to share my wisdom in 1 hour and get everything for you done in 1 hour. I'm sure you know that. But I want to give you a lot of things to make you understand the deeper lying issues here. And sleep is obviously something super important. And I'm really happy for you if you know that, if you learn that, and you can really implement that. Hello, Moto. I don't know if that's your real name. Welcome to it. We are right in our effortless weight loss in 2020. Everybody is muted, and I will open the microphone later on for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please do type them in the chat. And you can already say hello and maybe say from where you are. Right, now we are speaking about sleep hormones and how that affect our weight loss. Now I want to jump right into the strategies. Okay, I need to also mute the audio. Okay, that's done. Sorry. Okay, I hope that's done. Now I want to speak about the strategy in how to improve our sleep. Far more important than talking about all the theory, which is of course something we need to know to understand, but now I want to give you a lot of strategies. Now I mentioned already that the melatonin goes up in the evening. Now very important to understand there are a couple of things that can prevent that from happening. And one thing is super important in our new age with all those computers we're having. I'm staring at, you're staring at the lights. I have actually some light here giving me, so I look like pretty from all sides. I have the light here. That's actually really bad for melatonin, okay? So I should normally not do these kind of things in the evenings because that would decrease my melatonin. So what do you do? Because in the end, we all are somehow addicted to our cell phones, to our computers. We watch TV, we have bright lights in our rooms. It's not like, you know, in the past we had only candle lights or so. So what can we do? First of all, as a strategy, what I recommend the best is at least 1 hour, better 2 hours before your bedtime, you put off all your electronics. And that's a hard one. And I am very honest, I struggle with it too. I'm not doing it always. I'm very honest. It's one of those big things. But there are 2 strategies I'm at least doing, and I give you that. One is actually that your computer and your phones normally have settings that allow a it's called Lux in one, so it allows to put your screen into yellow mode, or orange mode is actually. So it kind of has an orange light. You can do that. That's automatically after 8 o'clock in the evening or so, that comes on. Most phones and most computers have those settings. So I would definitely look into that one and do that radically on all your phones and devices. Besides obviously not using them. The other thing is, let me see if I have it. No, I don't. Hold on a second. Sorry for that. I forgot to prepare it. Yes, I have it here. So that was an improv. Oh no, I don't have it here. I'm so sorry. I moved things around here, but there are yellow glasses you can put on your glasses, or there are yellow glasses altogether. And these also bring the lights, make them less blue. They make them green, basically. So they're yellow. And this is also really, really helpful for toning down those lights. So very good strategy, I would recommend, because that helps also with the light in your room and when you watch TV. So that's as one strategy that's super important. Right, I just see Taron said here in the chat, if melatonin has a curve, why do I feel heavy cravings to sleep after eating food? That's a good question, Taron. I love that one. I will answer that just after the sleep, okay? But it's a very, very good question, and I will answer that just now. If not, remind me if I forget. Right, so the blue light is one huge thing for the sleep. The other thing is having a sleep ritual or an evening ritual. What I do in the evening, I normally try really to calm down a little bit. I have different rituals. I'm very strong on my morning ritual. In the evening, what I usually do is that for example, I journal. So I can do some grateful, I say the 3 things I'm grateful for. It could be that you want to do a 5 minutes meditation. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. It might be that you go for a little walk outside, or it might be that you do some breathing exercises, which I absolutely love. And when you do breathing exercises in the evening, make them long and slow and deep breath and in and out, because they calm you. A couple of breath techniques which I teach my clients in my group coaching program, for example, where I help them really to tune into the different breathing techniques. Some are more energetic, and you could, by the way, Taron, you could use that when you have cravings or so. That's really a very good strategy, by the way. But in terms of sleep, breathing deeply helps you with sleep. So you can have a little ritual. So I don't know, what ritual would you like to start? Maybe you want to share that here in the comments with us in the chat. What sleep ritual could you start from today before you go to bed to kind of tune you into sleeping? What could it be, what you could do? Meditation, breathing, a walk, looking at a candle, lighting candles or something like that. It might be prayer, whatever it is, but something that kind of tells your body before you go to bed or before you go to sleep, I'm ready for sleep, and that helps you. By the way, writing down journaling and writing down your list for the next day is something that's very helpful. I do that actually a bit earlier than I do it at the end of my work day, where I write down all the things I need to do for next day. So basically I review my day and I write down those 3, 4, 5 important things I want to do the next day, because then they are out of my mind. Very often we are worried, and then we sleep obviously not as well, because it's not only about the sleep quality, but also, sleep quantity, but also about the quality. And like Sonia, you mentioned you're sleeping 7 hours, which is not too bad. But if it's interrupted, of course, then you'll kind of struggle a little bit more. Right, coffee is another thing. If you drink coffee or caffeinated drinks, green tea is okay. There's very little caffeine in, but coffee, tea, or any sodas with caffeine in, I would usually, if you struggle with sleep, I would recommend to stop completely for some time, see if it makes any difference. It usually affects more your stress, by the way, so definitely something I usually recommend at least to cut it out for some while. When I'm working with my clients, it's part of my reset diet of the cleanse we are doing, and usually that helps a lot. Many people are addicted to coffee. I'm sometimes too, but I stop it in between, then I go a little bit back. I'm not completely against coffee, but too much is not good, and especially for your sleep. If you have that and you're not ready to completely stop it, I would definitely recommend not to have coffee after 1 o'clock in the evening, even that you go at 10 o'clock to bed or so. So it might be a good strategy. Try it out and see if it makes any difference. Eating is also something super important, the right foods, when to eat. So maybe you want to eat a little bit earlier. Maybe you want to change a little bit the way you're eating. Now, if you eat very heavily in the evening, lots of fat, lots of protein, maybe it's too much, because your body, of course, works on it, and that might prevent you from sleeping. So maybe you want to add a little bit more carbohydrates like grains, brown rice, quinoa or so. These are, by the way, foods that help with the sleep. They increase the serotonin and they help with the melatonin production. So something better, and that is something I'm coming back to Taron. You speak about the curve and heavy cravings to sleep after eating food. Now, I'm wondering if you're eating a lot of carbohydrates during the day, like sugar or pasta or pizza or bread or something, and that is something, if you eat too much of that in the morning or at lunchtime, that might make you sleepy actually. So I would recommend to eat more fiber, protein, healthy fat during the day, and add a little bit more carbohydrates in the evening without overdoing it. If weight loss is your issue, I would normally always recommend to keep your carbohydrates at the lower end, okay? They are important, grains are important. I never would recommend to completely cut them out. I don't think it's a healthy long-term strategy, but having less is definitely something I would recommend. Okay, Taron, it's nature of work as I have to attend some meetings. Okay, so if you have meetings around 9 o'clock, I guess that's in the evening and they last for 1-2 hours. And then of course you have to get up in the next morning very early is something hard. Definitely I would, if you have late work to do, we all know we should not, but we cannot change it sometimes, I know that, and you have still to get up early next morning, there are a couple of strategies you can do around. One would be if really you cannot manage to sleep at least 7 hours from the time you finish until the next morning, then I would say have a siesta, have a nap. And that could be even that you go into your car at lunchtime and have a little nap there of a few minutes or so, 10 minutes or 15. It's not a strategy I would recommend if you can sleep enough and you try to increase your sleep. So you actually want to not nap if that's the case. So if you want rather to increase your sleep at night. But if you are, for whatever reasons, you cannot go to bed earlier because of work commitments or so, then that might be a strategy. And then I definitely would recommend to have a very good ritual, a routine, a bedtime routine that winds you down very quickly. So things like meditation, journaling, getting things out of your mind, maybe having a hot bath. Epsom salt bath is very nice. I love that. The magnesium in Epsom salt helps you with sleeping. I actually have not added that to my points today, but I just remember I do that. And you can even add some essential oils. I love lavender. Lavender, very good for sleep. Epsom salt together with lavender, really good thing. Right, so these are my sleep techniques. Now, of course, there are more than that, and I want, because I cannot share everything, otherwise we will run a little bit too long here. I'm already talking far too much. Sorry, I am gonna copy you here in the PDF. I will also, by the way, send out an email to everybody with a replay and with those details. But here you have it already. Don't open it now because I want you really focused on what I'm talking about. But you have that already, so copy paste it. But as I said, I will send you an email with a replay and with those details, those links as well. And these have all my sleep tips, so you have them all together in a nice handy handout. Right, now let's move on. And by the way, when I work with my clients, sleep is obviously, as you see, I'm very passionate about sleep, but I do these kind of things like we're doing today. We do that in different areas. So I will look at the same time at stress, like I've done now on sleep, right? So I will have, when we have in my group coaching session or even in my membership program, I will tell you a little bit more about later. But when I speak about, that I will have one module that is dedicated to these areas. So we deep dive really into those different areas of our lives so we can improve them. And then, of course, there is the accountability that comes, and that's so important because I can talk and do whatever I want, but if you're not doing the work, it's not gonna help anybody right now. Having said that, I would like you to write in the chat, what are you going to do about your sleep? How are you going to improve your sleep? What is the ritual you're doing? So what is the one step you can do starting today when you go to bed or whenever it is that you can do to improve your sleep, right? So take some action, write it down, make it public, because when you do that public, and that's why my group coaching program is, by the way, and my membership are so well, because I have, really that we are sharing things together. And when you do that publicly, you're more likely, actually 94% 94, yeah, 94% it is, you're more likely to do what you say you're doing when you share it publicly with people. You write it down and you share it publicly. It's a very, very powerful thing to do, implementing your resolutions. Right, now let's jump in. Getting rid of love handles once and for all. Now the important part is to know that the mid-fat we have, and a lot of people have when they are overweight, is very often the fat is, you know, not where we want. Some women say, you know, they want certain parts having more fat than on other parts. For the men, it's, by the way, the same thing. But we usually, the fat, unfortunately, accumulates where we don't want it instead of at least where we want it. And very often it's in the midsection. So these are the famous love handles. And so that is really important to know, that this is the most dangerous fat. It's the visceral fat. And the problem is when we have too much fat in our midsection, not only doesn't it look so good, at least that's what we think. And, you know, I'm not judging, but we usually feel more conscious about that type of fat. People don't like it so much. But more importantly, I'm looking from a health point of view into that. It actually compresses your internal organs. And around that sections, as you know, most of the organs are there. You know, we have our liver, the kidney, and so on and so on. They're all there. So if you have all that fat there, it compresses those organs and it damages them more and it harms them more and increases the likelihood that those organs develop some disease as well, right? It's also the most difficult fat to lose, unfortunately. So definitely I want to share a couple of ideas, strategies, and reasons maybe for you to understand why you have that and what areas you can look at to get rid of that fat. Again, like with everything else, it is that only a holistic approach will show its results, right? So super important that you look at it from a holistic point of view. So the one part, I mentioned that already, is super important to eat enough fiber. What is fiber? Fiber is mostly found in vegetables, fruits, beans, like beans, lentils, so it's pulses actually, beans, lentils, chickpeas and all that. You find it also in carbohydrates like brown rice. You will always want to find it rather in complex carbohydrates, not in the refined ones. But the best fiber is probably vegetable, and especially like, you know, green vegetables like spinach and broccoli and all these kind of things is really great source of fiber. So you want definitely to add a lot of fiber. The typical American person eats less than 10 grams of fiber a day. What would you think would be the optimal amount of fiber per day in grams? If you want, you can type that in the chat. And besides the fiber, I will tell you just after, but besides the fiber, also very important is a healthy amount of protein. Healthy protein, that is, so that could be your farm-raised chicken, that could be your, you know, pasture-raised beef, for example, your wild-caught fish as well, eggs, again, from good sources, and of course, ideally also a lot of plant protein like beans, and avocado has also, by the way, quite a lot of fiber, even nuts and so on. So these are, protein. So these are all really healthy sources of protein that you should include, as well fat. I mentioned fat already, so I will not get into that, and complex carbohydrates like, you know, your brown rice, your quinoa and things like that. Fiber, we should have about 35 to 50 grams. So just a short reminder, again, the average American eats less than 10 grams. So chances are that you need to bulk up on your fiber are pretty high actually. The other thing is what you want to look into if you have a lot of tummy fat is food intolerances. If you have food intolerances, I mentioned that earlier, you might actually have digestive issues, bloating, things like that, and they are all, of course, add to that. So you definitely want to look into food intolerances. That is something I'm doing when in my group coaching or also in my one-on-one coaching program. We go really deep in and I provide a way of an elimination diet. It's also my membership. And during that elimination diet, we cut out the usual foods people are intolerant to, like gluten, dairy, and so on. And then we reintroduce them one by one after to find out which are actually the trigger. And then we can work on healing the body as well. The next thing for our stomach fat to improve that is, of course, to eat healthy foods. So rather eat foods with lots of nutrients and no empty calories. So your sugar, for example, Tyrone, you mentioned earlier, that is, these are empty calories. You don't want them because they, of course, add to it. So you want really high quality foods, rather organic foods, no processed foods, no refined foods, but high quality, nutrient rich foods. Stress is another thing that adds to it. We go back to the hormones, right? Okay, and stress is really contributing a lot also to tummy fat. Mindful eating is one of the strategies I help my clients with using. Really eating mindfully is something I love teaching. We do that in my group coaching program and in my one-on-one coaching program where I teach really how to eat mindfully. And that's really fun because you realize how important that is. Aerobics and weight-bearing exercises are also important for getting rid of your love handles. Water, I mentioned that one. By the way, that's a cue to drink your water. Very important to drink water. By the way, often when you struggle with cravings, sometimes you're just thirsty. It might be just dehydration. So look into your water intake if cravings are some of your issues. But there are a lot of other things that can happen with cravings, and that's something, if interested, I'm very happy to go deeper into with you. Right, probiotics and prebiotics is one of the areas which I'm very passionate in digestive health. And when you have some tummy fat, it might be that perhaps your colon is not working properly, and that might be a reason. Green tea can help with inflammation and really great for your metabolic system, so you might want to increase your green tea as well. And then, of course, your emotional state is hugely playing. That is often going into finding what are the root causes of your issues, and by addressing them, you might just get rid of all this fat around your tummy as well. Right, any questions on this? Please type them in the chat. I don't know if I think I gave you quite a lot of ideas here into looking in overcoming your love handles. We don't want them. I mean, in the end, Valentine's Day is soon, right? I don't know how fast you last year went. Mine was like this, and Valentine's is immediately there. So let's work on that one. But I definitely love your enthusiasm. Great, Sonia. The yellow glasses. What I'll do is I have to remember that I can share some links with you for them. I'll try and do that in the email. Okay, so I can send you that. The ones I actually bought, they're really great, too expensive. Right, the number one dangerous food that all Americans eat that you need to stop now. What is it? Tell me in the comments, in the chat section, what do you think is in my opinion, the number one dangerous food that all Americans eat and that you need to stop now? And many think they are not eating it, or they don't know when they eat it actually, because of the beautiful food producers hiding it very well in whatever they're selling to their clients, because it's the substance which is really highly addictive, and it's more addictive than cocaine, it's more addictive than heroin and anything else. What is it? I would love to see that in the comments, or maybe you can type it, what it is. I will not share it otherwise. Yes, Sonia, right. Sugar, absolutely. Well, I think I gave it a little bit away. And Taran, there we go. That's why I said I will speak about sugar a little bit later. Sugar is definitely, first of all, it's super addictive. What it does as well, it basically feeds your bad bacteria. And I mentioned earlier probiotic and prebiotic, so your gut is really super important. Did you know that 90% of serotonin is actually produced in your gut? Did you know that? Right, it's huge. So if you are having too many bad gut bacteria, which are fed by sugar and refined foods. Now, I'm just saying sugar often is also things like fruit juices. It's also pizza and pasta, because in the end, that's simple glucose. Okay, your body sees it as glucose. And that's what's feeding the bad bacteria in your gut. And when you feed them, they get more, right? If you feed anything, they get more. And they're just, they quadruple and multiple and whatever, and there are a lot of them. I will not even go into all these details. And of course, the more you get, the more then it affects your serotonin in a bad way. That affects your neurotransmitter, your mood, your emotions, that affects your hormones, and so on. So you see, again, there's a huge link. So definitely the sugar is for you one of the things you want really to stop. Now, it's really difficult to do it because, as I mentioned earlier, the food producers are hiding it everywhere. So what I have been doing, I have a Quit Sugar Cravings workbook with you as well, which I'm going to share here. Again, I will send that per email to you. And in there, you will also find how to quit sugar, but also where sugar is in. Now, I just learned there is a new thing that but they're always coming up with new names, basically to give it new names for sugar. So they have, the glucose, they have, what do they call it? Oh, there's so many names for sugar, but even they say apple juice, or concentrated fruit or something. In the end, all this is sugar. They're all there. I mean, I can go and maltodextrin, anything that ends with O, so glucose, fructose, and all this, in the end, your body sees that as sugar. Okay, and the sugar is dangerous. The sugar will not help you. It will make your health worse. It's, by the way, it can lead to things like cancer and things like that. And I don't want to we don't have the time to go in the detail. By the way, I see I'm a little bit over time, so I hope you stick with me around. If not, you can always watch the replay if you're in a rush. But I really want to go, sharing that with you. So sugar is really, really important for you to leave out. It hides everywhere. You want to get knowledgeable about it. So check out that Quit Sugar Cravings workbook I shared with you after our call here, because I want definitely to get to the Q&A as well. And of course, artificial sweeteners, by the way, are even worse. Okay, so there are a lot of foods out there that are super dangerous, but for me the top is definitely the sugar. So you want to check that out. So now I think I shared a lot of things with you today. I have 2 more surprises for you, so just stay with me a couple of more minutes. If you have any questions here, please do type them. I will answer them with you. I can also unmute you at the end of it, so please stay on. I'm definitely happy to chat with you and answer any questions. But the 2 surprises I have with you and I want to share with you are, 1, I have 2 options if you want to dive deeper that you can do. 1, I'm opening up a couple of sessions with me, which I call a Forever Perfect Weight consultation, which is basically a one-on-one session with me. It's about 30 to 40 minutes or so around. I'm not closing it completely, where I help you to get clear on why you've been not achieving your weight loss goals in the past, and build basically an action plan on your way forward for 2020 and beyond. So if you are interested in really diving deep, and if you are perhaps ready also, maybe you want to work with me. I mean, we've chatted, so you got a little bit an idea about me today, how I work, and I don't want to make it about selling you things here. I really wanted to give you value on the way forward. I think today I shared a lot with you already, but let's face it, you know, a 1 hour masterclass will start you off, but it will not solve all your problems. It is complex after all. And if you want really to go forward on a permanent, effortless weight loss journey, then, you know, you need to go a little bit deeper as well. So this will kind of set you up, and then, you know, we can always discuss. I give you personalized tips, and then if you are interested, you can, you know, we can always find out a way to work together and see how that would work best for you, depending on your budget, on your time, on your goals, and so on. So if that's of interest, I will share with you just now the link. So you can sign up with me. I have only a few places there, of course. I mean, after all, you know, I can have only a little bit here. And if you're watching the replay, I keep some available, but again, first come, first serve, of course. So I'm going to share that with you here. Okay, I hope that's all. Oh no, that goes only, sorry, I shared that wrongly here. Technical issues. I'm doing that the first time this kind of way, the masterclass on here. Okay, so you can apply here. There's a short form and so on. It's free of charge, and you know, you can book that consultation with me as long as I have space. I will eventually close it when I get too busy. And then the other thing I have is something brand new. Now you don't want to miss that either. It's completely brand new. I literally, to be honest, I was working still earlier and finishing everything on it. I have a group coaching program, but I have just brand new, I have a membership I put together. Now the membership is very similar to my group coaching program, with the difference that it has really the membership component. It's really a program that you can follow and you can try out, where we have membership modules. Every 2 weeks there's a new membership module released with a video, and where you learn all the things we've gone through today. So hacking your sleep, improving your digestive system, improving your hormones, doing meal plans, learning better recipes, getting recipes that help you, doing a reset diet, a detox. All these kind of things I'm sharing in my membership. So every 2 weeks there is a module released with all that information. There are resources like meal plans, recipes, workbooks, and so on, a video, plus a once a month one-on-one, not one-on-one, but once a month, like a session together, a Q&A like we have today, but which is more interactive, where you can actually ask me more questions. So that is something which I'm offering. And the membership, I have a $1 trial for 7 days for you. How is that? Do you like that? Now, basically, as I said, I put it just together, and as it's a brand new thing, I want to give my clients the opportunity to try it out for 7 days. So basically, you will get immediately access to module number 1, full out, with a video, with everything. I will organize even a session like this during that. I kind of probably add that in between, so you can really see how that is. And then after, it will be $97 per month. So still a steal, knowing that, you know, working with me one-on-one together is much more, and you still get access to me. So that is something I put together for the new year, for really offering everybody to be able to get onto the weight loss journey with me, and being able to get all the value for a fraction of the cost. And I will also share that link with you here. And again, as before, I will also send you an email with all these links. So this is my surprise I had. I wanted to share that because, I mean, you know, $1 trial is like free. I just need to do it actually, because otherwise you don't get onto my system without that. But I'm sure everybody can bear at least $1 to try it out. You have full access to my, you know, to module 1 during 7 days. And then after, if you're happy, you know, you just continue, or you can of course cancel it. And, you know, always remember that when you start with me, you can, you know, try it out. And then if you want to increase, you want to add more, you want perhaps to work with me one-on-one or so, you can always do that. We always find a way. And as I mentioned, we have my Forever Perfect Weight consultation with me, where we can jump on a call. You can book it right now. I would say first come, first serve. And then, you know, we can find a way of working with me together, either on my membership or my group coaching, or even my one-on-one coaching if you're interested. Right, now I want to open the microphones with you. If you have any question, please type in the chat, me or whatever, and just let me know, and then I will open the microphone with you, and you can ask your question and I can coach you directly here. If, you know, I will make it shortly, of course, so everybody gets a turn if you want that. There are not too many people, and I made this call a bit small here today, but let me know if you're interested, if you have any questions. That would be lovely. Actually, unmute you, and if somebody is too loud, hi Sonia, I unmuted you. I cannot unmute Joe. Taron, I will also unmute you. If you want to stay muted, you can always mute yourself. And Moto, I will also unmute you. It's just a few people here. So do you have any questions, Sonia?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. How was that valuable?
Given me quite a few things to mull over. Yes, was lovely. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. What was the most valuable for you?
Well, you know, as I said, my sleep is definitely very much interrupted during the night, and I need to work on that. So the fact that, you know, it needs to be really dark. So the yellow glasses thing is absolutely a new one for me. So I'm going to definitely give that a try and see if I can get the sleep a bit better.
Perfect. Sounds awesome.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well done. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
If you have any other questions, feel free to sign up.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay.
Taron, do you have any questions?
Sure, I do. In fact, thank you very much for this session. And I think the sugar part was really important for me. I did understood a lot of stuff about sugar. I'm gonna, take control of that going forward. So the one quick question that I have is like how to, get over from dehydration. I started with improving my water intake, but I slowly start losing, and then rather than improving my water intake, it goes down gradually, and then is there I started with electrolytes as well. They help, but then again, what, it's like in and out. What's the best way to keep yourself hydrated for long?
Yeah, that's a great question. I also struggle sometimes with drinking enough. It's an ongoing process. It's a constant learning, I guess. But what I do is, first of all, I have in the morning, I have a glass of lemon water, warm lemon water. That's my big thing, which I start. It's it's like ritual. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm really very ritual driven because that works for me. So I get up, I go in the kitchen, I do that. Immediately after, then I have another glass of water, and I would recommend that for you. And then the one thing, I don't have it here now, but the one thing I really do and I recommend is always have a bottle of water with you. I recently changed from plastic bottles, so it was BPA free. I got a stainless steel bottle, a bit better, makes the water taste better. Speaking about taste, very often, we find water is boring, the taste. So maybe you want to add a little bit something to it. For example, you could cut fruits in it. I quite like that. Lemon, slices of lemon or oranges, or maybe strawberries or some mint leaves or something like that. So if it tastes a little bit more, you might enjoy it. And then the other strategy I have is I put alarms on. And you have, of course, in our phones, we have all kind of apps which can automatically have every hour an alarm or a reminder or something. There are even apps that remind you of things. So you can literally have, a thing come up, drink water or whatever. So that is really helpful. Yeah, I think these would be the strategies that help me the best. How does that sound?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I think I'm good. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Moto or Joe, are you having any questions? Okay, I'm not sure if they're here or if they want to stay quiet. That's absolutely fine. Right. Unless you have any questions, then let's wrap up. I know everybody is busy and it was a little bit longer than I thought. I'm sorry for that. But I think today I gave a lot of valuable information. Just maybe in the comments, if you can type what was the most valuable for you today, and perhaps some feedback or so would be really great. I would love to hear that. And then, as I mentioned, I will send you the email out with all the information of, first of all, of the special goodies I have for you here. So my healthy sleeping PDF document, and also my sugar cravings workbook I will share with you. And then also, it's already in the comments, but I will also send you the emails for signing up with a Forever Perfect Weight consultation with me, and also for the $1 trial for my Effortless Weight Loss membership. Now, just to speak about that again, it's really a very, very thorough program I put together with a lot of value there, and you're getting that for $1 trial for 7 days, so you can really check it out. It starts off with the first module where we go deep into goal planning, which I think is very important to get clear about our goals. Very important just in the beginning of the year, where we really get clear, you know, the vision of 2020 or whatever that is for you, or maybe even the decade if you want to do that. And then put it down, the values you want in here, the step-by-steps I share with you in the first module. Also really great food swaps, so you know which foods to eat and not. There's the video that explains everything. There are workbooks, and I also have some accountability. So you get really full access to the program, the first module. Then after that, once the trial is over, then I will have the 10-day reset that I'm sharing with you. So the 10-day reset program is a full program that you will be able to access there, and that has the meal plan, full meal plan. It has the recipes. It has the full guidebook as well on how to do the 10-day reset, and that will help you to get rid of toxins. Very often when we have too many toxins, we actually struggle to lose weight. And that's why I build it in as a bonus. And then after, we will go through the different areas, how to improve our digestive system, the hormones, how to address if you have any thyroid imbalances, our inflammation. We speak a lot about cravings, you know, what strategies to implement on cravings, sleep strategies, stress strategies, and so on and so on. So each module actually brings you a new theme. Normally I combine the spiritual health, the emotional health, the physical health, the nutrition, exercises, all this I combine. So there's always something you then can dive in, and I help you to really form simple habits that you can implement, you know, like when we work, we don't have time to cook. So I really help you with meal planning, with meal prepping to make it easy for you. So all these are things that you find in my membership program that you can try out. And as I said, you have a once monthly call like we have today, but a little bit more interactive actually, whereas coach you actually through things, and you can ask more questions and so on. So it's something I'm offering. So try it out, give it a try if you're interested. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated that. I think that was an awesome start to the year. I can wish you a fabulous 2020. Thanks so much, guys. And it's Andrea Caprio from Wellness Methods. Bye-bye, and until next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrea.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.